You're jumping the gun.
Yes, you were
on
jumping
your
the gun.
wordage.
Don't blame it on us.
What? Can I throw a grape at him?
Yes, you can throw a grape at him
Nah,
this
I don't want
time.
to do that. It's frozen in my heart.
He deserves one on that one.
I'm so cold.
Oh, come on.
It's not that bad. It's just
No, you're.
I feel like if I bounce too much, I'm gonna fall through the floor.
It's hot in here.
I'm dying of the heat. Can we get some
The Toyota of San Bernardino Recording Studio presents IENewswire Daily with Roy Bleckert and Stephanie Meyer. So sit back and enjoy the show.
That delay in there gets. I want to start talking as soon as I hear the deal off, and then you got that. Yeah, you need to splice that in a little bit because I want to jump the gun on that whole day. Here we are on Wicked Wednesday on that. Back on the show on that.
Is that what we always? I say Winter Wednesday because it's freezing
It
in
is,
here.
yeah. It did. I mean, snow up in the Big Bear Mountains.
Did it really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
You might want to look on IENewswire. We posted photos of the snow.
I knew that. I was
Up
just
in the-
testing everybody else that's out
yes.
there.
If
Follow
you-
IENewswire. They post great stuff during the day.
If you believe that, no, lots of. I guess not officially the first day of winter, but I mean, this is probably the first kickoff of the little cold snap that we have going on here.
Finally, it feels like November.
I don't notice it, but some people do.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm over here sweating.
Yeah, like me. I mean, it's like no, I don't understand it like this. I mean, people are walking around saying it's cold out. It's not cold out. Cold is like 23 degrees or 47 below or something like that. When it's 50 degrees outside, it is not cold.
Excuse me. You're wearing pants, so it has to be cold because for you to not wear shorts and sandals, it has to be cold. You're just not wearing a jacket because you never do. The first day of winter, do you know when the first day of winter is?
December 21st?
Damn it. Oh, you pulled out my thing. Oh, no, my phone
Wow! On top of that.
phone goes flying.
Oh,
Mic
Dad.
gets pulled out.
Probably didn't think I knew that, did you?
I know. How did you know that? My cell phone is on the ground. I am officially panicking. I got it.
Yes, your comfort blanket just left you there for a few seconds.
It fell.
Yes.
All right.
And you're on the no, lots of stuff going on today besides the snow and the that. And if it's raining, if it is breaking out on your commute back or anything, please be careful because
Yeah, drive safe.
yes, the road.
Especially for the first rains. Isn't
yes,
it like
first rains.
they say it's slippery or something?
yes, you know
something
why.
or other?
You know why?
Because all the oil gets lifted.
wow, son of a gun, you know a technical thing. How in the hell did you know that?
I don't know, but I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Every time I get something right, I feel like I won the lotto.
Yeah, you get like 6 or 7 months of oil and dirt and garbage and stuff all on that, and then the rain kind of washes it up, and then it makes it real slick. And people still want to drive 87 miles an hour down the freeway.
Or you
down
have that
the-
one that's driving 2 miles per hour in the way, and then you have
Yeah,
that
then you
jerk
have
that's
to
like,
Yeah, you don't stop so well,
Yeah.
and you wind up rear-ending them.
Anyways, drive safe out there.
Yes. We are going to have Michelle Mears back up here in about 10 or 15 minutes on that because both of us wanted to find out more about this sanctuary school thing going down in Murrieta and this whole sex education thing that, seems to be getting many parents up in an uproar on that. So we'll get some more of the detail because, I mean, I've read some of the stuff or just kind of skimmed it. I mean, I hope they're not coming up with some of the things that I've read, but I mean, I'm not necessarily, sometimes you just can't believe everything you read, but we'll get a clarification on that whole deal or start getting some more information because, we don't want our, I mean, something's got a lot of these parents just, up in a
I
big
don't know.
lather over this stuff. Funny thing. Oh, roll through the IEN deal and actually show the picture of the some of the first snow coming up in Big Bear.
How exciting! Are we going snowboarding?
Yes. Have you ever been snowboarding?
I have been
Wow.
Couple times.
You actually went snowboarding?
a couple times. Yeah.
I'm sure you've never been snow skiing.
No.
There it is. That's actually at. I think that is that.
Hey, John.
That's
Thanks for tuning in, and Teresa.
That's at one of the resorts, or the Big Bear ski resort up there. Is actually where I think the picture's taken from. Yeah, have you ever built a snowman?
Have I ever built a snowman? Of course.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you sometimes you ask you stuff like that, and you.
I've
Well,
ate yellow snow too. Delicious. No, I'm just kidding.
well, let's
I'm totally
explore that
kidding.
one a little bit.
I'm kidding.
Whoa. You hate yellow snow?
My brother always said it's like the best snow.
So is that a Bokikio family tradition or something here, or what's going on?
Yeah, maybe. I can't
I
share
mean,
all my family.
I don't know.
secrets.
I would have to take your word for it because I don't think I've ever intentionally went out seeking yellow snow to eat.
I was kidding.
No, you're not.
I know. I did want to go on a mission for yellow snow though, because I was like, "What is that? That sounds cool." And then it finally, ding, duh.
How long did
I
it?
was little. I was like 18. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, how long did it take you? What, about 3 or 4 days to figure out what it was?
Shut up, Roy. I don't want to talk about it.
I do, because it's fascinating.
And really quick, I want to thank the man that worked at Starbucks. He bought my coffee today. What a sweetheart.
Really?
Yeah. How kind, huh? Well, he said it was on him. So I didn't really buy it, but I didn't have to pay for it, so thank you.
That's usually...
It was like one of those days,
What do
and then
you-
it was just like that
Yeah.
simple, small act of kindness just totally turned my entire day around. It
Well,
was awesome.
If you didn't buy it and he didn't give it to you, that means you stole it.
Shut up, Roy. I don't want to talk about
Listen
it.
to yourself.
know.
What did you?
Well, no, but he worked there, so he said it was on him. So I'm assuming that maybe, I don't know, they get like store credit or something. Maybe he gave me his one free coffee for a shift. You don't know.
There you go.
I don't know. But thank you. I told him he's my best friend. Really, you're my best friend.
On that. Shout out to
Okay.
Starbucks for a
Shout out
no charge
to
coffee.
Starbucks barista. He was my
Barista.
best friend. I didn't get his name. Even if I did, I wouldn't remember it. So
So you call a guy a barista? Sounds like a chick name to me, but
isn't a barista like the person that makes the coffee?
well, usually when there's an A on the end, it usually has a female.
So then what would a male be? Barista? No, I think it's all just barista.
It could be, maybe, I don't know. You come up with all these new terms.
I think
anymore.
again I'm right. So I
You
want,
probably
like
are. I mean,
we
it's just
gotta have like a sound effect when I'm right. I want like bells whistling and stuff, and like a little parade.
barista. Oh, there's Mr. Wikipedia up there with the barista.
It comes from Italian. That's who didn't know that. That's why it's an amazing name.
That's probably why it has the A on the end, huh?
Probably. All right, moving on.
Moving on. Roll up to the top of the IEN Newswire thing. Just a story, or one. Again, we come up with all this stuff. A 17-year-old male arrested for human trafficking of a 17-year-old female in a San Bernardino motel. I mean, these things. It just isn't like there's just one of these. I mean, these things are coming like every day or every other day on this stuff of
Where was that at?
It's in a San Bernardino motel. But I mean, a 17-year-old male trafficking a 17-year-old female in the motel. I mean, I don't remember, even though back in the, you've always had pimps and, the whole thing. I don't remember pimps being teenagers, per se, and that. I mean, it just seems
But
like.
the way the world, that's why I'm kind of excited to get into the sex talk with Michelle. Or the sex education, not sex talk.
Yes. Sex
Because
talk
I
with
feel like,
Michelle
well, it's like saying,
on IEN
hey,
Newswire.
those numbers will.
Yes.
Anyways, I feel like the world these days, children are learning things so much younger now. Like kids in elementary school know words that I didn't know until I was like a young adult or in high school. I think they're
Ye-
just exposed to all that stuff a lot earlier.
Well, that is, but how do you explain these studies?
Maybe he grew up in a family that.
Well, yeah, well, it could be, but I mean, just doing it in general, and you're talking about that. But what about all these studies where kids or males into their 30s are not having sex, and girls and everything else? The studies of millennials and Generation X coming up, where they're delaying this and not,
I think those studies aren't right, though.
I think they are because
I don't think.
you've seen and of that you've seen a declining a real precipitous decline in the birth rate here recently. So there's a lot of evidence that
might be a
shows
good thing.
that's the case.
But I feel like people are also having kids at a lot older age and moving out and getting married older.
Well, yes.
Well, they were for a while, but now I feel like it's kind of coming back around to where now they're doing it very young again.
Well, no, they're not really. No, it's actually it's actually where they're not doing it at all, and that's what's getting kind of the worrisome part.
They probably got themselves a sex robot.
Could be.
Not a bad idea.
Well, does that count on the having sexual contact if you're not having it with someone else, if you're having it with a robot?
They need to put that. See, now another box is getting added to the fill out form.
Further reading out from San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department on Wednesday, November 19th. San Bernardino County Human Trafficking Task Force investigators received information of a juvenile female possibly being trafficked from a hotel in Southeast Street in the city of San Bernardino. Task Force members assisted the members of San Bernardino County Sheriff's Narcotics Division, conducted surveillance at the motel in hopes of locating and identifying the juvenile. Shortly after initiating surveillance, investigators noticed a female fitting the description of the juvenile near the open room door. Investigators noticed a male frequenting the same room and female was seen near. During contact with both, investigators determined the female was 17 years old and a reported runaway juvenile from San Bernardino County. Contact with the male subject also found him to be 17 years old. While speaking with both of them at the scene, the female began to show signs of medical distress. An ambulance was called. They interviewed the guy, finally arrested him on human trafficking and stuff. It's kind of a, again, it seems like we're in this, where, the stuff just keeps proliferating on that, and it just seems to be getting weirder.
But do you think that it also, too, is now that things are hitting media so you see it more? Do you think that that's a factor?
It could be, but
because 10 years ago, Facebook wasn't popping up this kind of stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But but I mean, the statistics are showing that this stuff is growing. Just even as they're maybe not doing the crime statistics or anything like they used to, or keeping the compilation of it. But I don't know. Maybe it is part of it, but we seem to be having this. And I mean, we talked about it on that as far as it. I mean, I would be all for legal prostitution. Just as and to get this, like the marijuana thing, get the black market out of it, get the black market and this stuff out. Have them in certain areas, where it's away from kids or whatever, and that, and where it's at, and it's all regulated, and and people are checked out, so you're not transmitting diseases and all this other stuff. Fine. If two people want to have sex, pay for it, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and you're on your way. That's how it should be. Yeah, I mean, trying to deny or think you're going to stomp this stuff out. I've said the same thing. But throughout recorded history, there's been drug use, gambling, and prostitution, and you're not wiping it out. It's going to be there. You're in my world. Deal with it. Let's deal with it as an adults, as a society should. And I think that's why my ultimate solution, why I bring these things up, is hopefully we'll get to that point of one day of that. So
I agree. I don't know.
Sounds
I think
like,
people are still going to be upset about it, though.
well, yeah, there's always the
but
contingent.
people are always going to be upset
yeah,
about something.
there's
but
always the contingent.
do you
that
think,
thinks
but
they're
by
save the
doing
world.
that, we're going to help, eliminate human, interactions and people, getting married and still doing all that kind of stuff? Do you think?
No.
I kind of feel like that's going to start kind of fading out. Like, I feel like the holidays are fading out. I feel like marriages are fading out. I feel like
Yes.
families are fading out.
Okay.
Dinners together are fading out.
And I mean, I equate it to this. People are living
No.
vicariously through that. You
I
don't.
don't think so.
You don't
I
have.
think everybody is just stubborn and they want things done a certain way. And if someone doesn't do it that way, they say, you know what? Screw it.
Well, what would you do if you didn't spend hours on this?
I don't want to talk about it.
See, that's part. I mean, I think
If I didn't spend hours on this, I'd probably be a lot happier, a lot less stressed out, and I wouldn't have a job.
I would think. I would think that.
Let's not
And
do
I think
that.
that's kind of the key to it, and that's what I've been talking about. Is
But I do so much work off this phone. Like, this is like my job. I feel like it's not like, hey, how you doing, mom? It's like, IENewswire, KMT, the district. You know what I mean? I mean, I do everything through that. This one thing drives me insane.
there you go. Oh, I think we have our guest on the line that wrote a story about Murrieta the schools down there wanted to become a sanctuary school district or something like that. And but the broader question of this is, and I know a lot of parents all up and down the state of California. There's been some new laws or legislation passed about sex education, and it's really coming in. I've been hearing or reading some of the stuff that is really coming into the elementary schools, and they're getting some of the stuff is getting really graphic on it. But it really sparked a furor, I think, down in Murrieta, and I know you live down in there, and probably you wrote an article on it, so I'm sure you're probably on the ground zero, know the info on this on the stuff. Welcome to the show, Michelle Mears. You're on with Stephanie and Roy.
Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Stephanie and Roy. Nice to be back with you all.
Most people don't say that about me. They probably say that about her. That's why I got her around.
Some
so I
do,
can-
some don't.
Yeah, so people
Oh, my
will
goodness.
tolerate me a little bit. But no, what's the and we'll get into the sanctuary state or school district thing in Murrieta first. But what's your understanding of what this new legislation is on sex education coming into the schools? Are they changing things? Give us a 411.
It's a little complicated. So in a nutshell, certain school districts are allowed to implement certain portions of the sex education. And so depending on your school district, it's going to depend on how graphic the sex education lessons will be. So it's going to be up to the parents to really delve into their own school district to determine just how much are their kids going to be taught. And some of it can be so extreme that it can be considered pornographic. Others aren't taking it fully on and are being conservative. But it's really going back to what I'm starting to get on readers is that you have to be involved and you have to know what's going on. And it's going to depend on who you have on the school board. So that goes back to paying attention to who you vote for, because the school districts do have a little leniency on what they can choose to teach, but they also have a broad spectrum on how much they can teach, and that's the scary part.
So, and I've been hearing a lot of reports that, well, you can't opt out. Parents cannot opt their kids out of this situation. Is there any truth to that, or what's that? I mean,
I think to an extent, and I apologize because, like I said, it's kind of complicated, and it shouldn't be complicated. But there is a certain level that they can opt out, but there's also a part that they can't opt out. So it's up to the parents to ask the school, what can we opt out of? What are you going to force our kids to learn? And it all has got to go back to parents getting involved and knowing what their kids are going to learn and not going to learn, and what are they willing to put up with. So I wish I could be more precise, but we could we could be on here talking about it forever. There's so much to go on with what the sex education is right now. It's not that easy, and then that's the problem.
Well, so let's say X school board, school district adopts, the school board adopts some certain sex education guidelines this is going
You
to be
mean to the
taught in
extreme?
to that and let's say for whatever reason you determine that maybe your fifth grader or 10-year-old is not ready or mature enough to handle this this graphic stuff or whatever that you're just not comfortable with it. If the school district, and this is kind of what I was getting or my understanding or what I was reading, is if the school district adopts this stuff that you as a parent cannot opt out of it, and I think that's what was causing the angst of it, or that was my understanding. Am I correct, or am I misreading this?
No, I think you're correct. But the school boards are not every school board is adopting the entire state's curriculum that they can teach. So that's the difference. There's a broad difference on what the school districts, to my understanding, can choose to have. So, for example, Marietta, I believe, has picked, in Temecula, California, have chosen more of a conservative sex education plan. But there could be communities, let's just throw out LA. I'm going to assume they're going to be a little bit less conservative. But all you have to do is go to the state education and see exactly what the schools can teach. And it's so descriptive. I can't even say it on the radio. But basically, kids shouldn't be taught how to do certain things sexually.
I don't think kids should be taught certain things, but I think they need to be taught what happens when you do certain things. But by teaching a kid what happens when you do certain things, you have to kind of teach how it's kind of done in a way. But I mean, it depends on what it is.
Right. With some of the education, Lord, I hope we can talk about this, I think is teaching the kids that they can have anal sex and how can they have anal sex, different things. It's pretty graphic. Why would you be teaching that in high school or middle school?
I think by high school and middle school, though, a lot of them have seen that on TV or talked about with their friends.
Right. And then, so there we go.
It's not making it okay. But
right, that's where the controversy is. It's the parents saying, let us teach if we choose to teach that. Who is the school to teach that to our kids?
Exactly. I see that point.
I think that's the complicated part, because just what you said is like, well, they probably already know what that is, but is that?
Or for that one kid that might have heard it but is too ashamed or embarrassed to ask about it, then maybe that is a good thing if the parent wants to sign them up to be like, hey, little Timmy wants to kind of learn a little bit more on what this is that his friends are talking about, but he doesn't want to go and ask his friends because he doesn't want to look or get picked on. Because doesn't that happen? Don't boys pick on boys for not knowing first, second, and third base or whatever?
But then that would be choice then, right?
Yes.
So I think that's what the parents want. The parents just want choice and saying, let us have the choice on what we teach our kids. And why do they have to go beyond just teaching the basics, what a man and woman do to have a baby?
Right.
It's gone beyond that. It's gone beyond the basics, how to create a baby. And the parents that's what their problem is. They're saying that it's too, do not force our kids to be taught that if we don't want them taught that at this point. Maybe we don't feel our kids ready for that yet, and we want to make that decision, or it goes against their religious rights or freedoms. Multiple reasons they just want choice, and that's, I think, the main point of it all. And it has to go back to knowing your school board, knowing your district, getting involved. You can call up your school district. You can go down and read what they are going to teach. That information is all public knowledge, but you have to ask for it. So you have to get involved.
So get more into Pacific. So it was kind of intriguing. I mean, I just kind of like the concept. I think it was more like a throw it in your face to Gavin Newsom, Jerry Brown, and all the ones that are doing the sanctuary state. But what was the impetus? I mean, I'm getting part of this, but what was the impetus behind the sanctuary school district deal down in Marietta?
Well, they are saying basically, well, if different cities throughout the state can have sanctuary status for illegal immigration, well, you're taking away our parental choice for vaccines, for sex education, for whatever they're taking, the multiple reasons they're taking. And the other reason they're taking choice out is that children as young as 7 can be leave school for a medical issue and not tell the parents. And so
No.
there's multiple reasons that the parents' choices are
That
being
was quick.
removed from that.
No, because I'm picturing my 7-year-old walking off campus without telling me. No, he's going to get lost as soon as he walks out that school.
Right. So sanctuary status of not having parental rights. So they're listing. They said, like in high school, or I think even as young as middle school, that if a child wants to go have some type of hormonal treatment because they feel that they're a different sex or a different gender, that they can have that, or if they want an abortion, they can have an abortion, and the parents aren't going to be told about it. And so the parents are like, whoa, wait, you're completely taking away our rights. Let us walk our child through these situations. Let us hold their hand and discuss this. Why are you taking that from us? And that's why they wanted to have sanctuary status. They're like, hey, you guys did this for all across the state for sanctuary for illegal immigrants. Well, we want it now for parental choice. We want Marietta to claim that we are a sanctuary city or a sanctuary school district for parental rights. And so that was it in a nutshell, what they were trying to do. It didn't have any legal status according to the school district's attorney that spoke, but it was more of principle and more of letting the school board members know that their jobs are on the line by the voters. Does that make sense?
Yes, I mean, I thought that was a great. I mean, I thought that was a great part of it. Was you're actually trying to turn the tables or showing the absurdity of the sanctuary state status. Or okay, if it's okay to apply it here, well, why is it not okay to apply it over in this instance with that? That's, and I think it was a great PR move, if nothing else, on that, to show the absurdity of the pitfalls. And okay, well, it might work for you today or what you were wanting to accomplish over here, but what if it starts turning the tables on you and somebody else uses it against you? And it's really
absolutely.
You
can use it
go
for
ahead.
The Second Amendment rights. You can use it for parental rights.
Right.
Why is sanctuary status only for illegal immigration?
Right. Right. If we're going to apply it, the laws are supposed to be applied equally to all of us. So again, that's what I say. That was what I was looking at, or that struck me when you wrote that on or had that posted, that article, which I think is on California Globe. On IEN.
The California Globe,
yes, that you post on there about that. I said, man, this is a neat deal. I mean, no wonder Murrieta's the safest city in California, or one of them. That I think you ranked one study that I just saw. I think ranked Murrieta second safest city in all of America.
Wow.
They always are on the top of the chart.
I need to move out there.
Yeah, it is. I've been covering Marietta off and on for their city and school district since about 2003. And the community's always been very active. But there wasn't just Marietta residents there. There was the surrounding cities there, Menifee, Temecula, Wildomar. It was not just Marietta residents, which means all the other school boards should be on notice. And there were so many people there, so many parents with their babies in tow, infants. They were there for a couple hours and flowing out into the parking lot. They just overcrowded that school board, and they're passionate, and they held signs, and their babies actually and their kids were actually all good. They were all well behaved. There wasn't any meltdowns, which was impressive. They were very passionate, very active, and the surprising part, the end of that whole meeting for this issue was the school board denied it to do sanctuary status, but not only that, they didn't say one word on it. They all chose to stay silent, and that infuriated everyone there. They couldn't even hold a discussion in regards to the people that were there, and they felt like that was an insult thrown in their face or a slap in their face, and so they all left with your jobs are on the line. See you at the voting booth, because that's the only recourse is that these parents have now is when the next election comes.
Yeah, that was surprising too that they didn't even acknowledge it or pretty much or tried to duck and run from the whole from the whole issue on that. That was kind of surprising.
Maybe they're still trying to figure it out themselves too. So maybe they didn't want to say anything and say like the
Oh, I
wrong
don't know,
thing.
and I don't know their reason.
But
I
I mean,
think a
still
lot of
say, we're still learning more about this or give us time or something. I mean, that's not right.
right, they could have acknowledged, they could have said something.
Yeah.
But the fact that they had so many people there, you can have a discussion and
Right.
still not decide to go with the sanctuary status. But they didn't say anything, not one thing about it, and that really I think shocked the people that were there who came prepared. The people that spoke came with speeches. There was actually an 18-year-old Marietta High School student, I think senior, that was there. He also spoke, and he has been paying attention to history class, stating our tax dollars are paying for this education, and we're not getting the education that we're paying for. So he was bringing up, once again, our taxes pay for school. The taxpayers aren't getting what they're asking for. They're demanding that they want their parental rights, but the school district's taking it away. But it's not just, it's happening at the state level. And so that's what the school district attorney was trying to also let people know, that the school district does have to follow state laws. And the parents understood that, but that was all the reason why they're asking for sanctuary status. So people need to get involved when things come to the state level and laws are being passed. This is coming after the fact. Laws are already passed, bills are already made, and now the school districts are forced to follow them, whether they like it or not. And so parents really need to get involved and pay attention to what's happening in the assembly, pay attention to what's happening in the state senate. They have to pay attention whether they want to or not, because after the laws are made, it's a lot harder to fight.
Yes, it is.
And that's a lot. I can't tell you, so many times as a writer, we see people not getting passionate until these bills are already passed, and it's too late. It's too late or too expensive to fight. And that's also going on with a couple articles that I've written recently. I'm seeing a trend here. Things being passed by the public not paying attention. And we really need to, people aren't happy with what's going on in the state or the schools. You have to get involved. There's only so much as you, as in the news, on the radio, on your podcast, as us writers, journalists, we can report it all. But if the people aren't happy with it, they have to get involved. They have to do something. So that's what you may want to talk to speak to your viewers about is, are you just going to sit back and let the people in office pass laws and bills and then complain later, or are you going to get involved ahead of time?
Are you taking notes on this?
Yes.
I mean, basically, isn't that what we are as journalists supposed to be doing, is informing the public?
And that, but I mean, what you're talking about, because I mean, I go to school board meetings, city council meetings.
Right, you're very active.
And I mean, sometimes I'm like the only one or two, or the same group of 4 or 5 people are just there all the time. The rest of it's like everybody else is, like you say, meandering around until a crisis or something like they hits, and then they say, well, how does this happen?
Or watching it at home, because we have 4 little children.
Yes.
But you can watch it at home, and you can watch it when the kids are asleep. There's, I mean, Stephanie, you have kids. I watch
it. Yeah, that's why I watch it at home. But my kids like going to the one that we went to. They were all excited for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
My child grew up going to city council meetings, and I brought toys and everything, and he sat there, and I was the reporter with my kid in city council council meetings. And so you can get involved. Saying I got kids is just an excuse. You find the time if it's important to you. And you're right, Roy. The same people, it doesn't matter what city council you go to throughout the state, you'll find just the same 4 or 5 people showing up all the time. And where's the rest of the other 100,000 people in town?
There you go. That's you want to know the website or Facebook page that was broadcasting the Moreno Valley Unified School Districts and basically had to shame them into finally getting them to broadcast. You want to know whose that was?
Who?
called IENewswire.
Oh, was it?
Yes,
That was yours, Roy, right?
yes, that's what we had to actually. We almost had to shame our school district into broadcasting the, live broadcasting the meeting. So because
Or maybe you gave them the idea to do it. You didn't have to
There you
shame
go.
them. You gave them the idea to come together
you can,
and bring a community together.
you can't, even though Noah, some of those ones that we did tape before they started taping, and you can see the interactions we had with the school board members across and executive staff. And that's one thing, great it is about putting it on the record is once you can actually see that there is no, well, we said this or we didn't or
Right.
like this. And again, that's one of the good tools of modern technology now, or this stuff is you can actually sit at your home and do this. You don't have to be there. You can go back and look at it if you weren't able to be there at that meeting or something, or you want to know something. So that's a good
Well,
aspect.
Yeah, exactly. If people want to know more about the article that we're just talking about, the CaliforniaGlobe.com, they can go and read it. And it took a total of, if you were going to include the time that I was there and then writing it, 3 hours to put that thing together, and they can read it in a minute. So take advantage of reading the articles and paying attention to your newscasts that you do to know what's going on in the community, so that way they don't have to spend hours like we do researching and investigating and finding out what's going on. We're kind of doing the work for them. They just kind of got to read it and pay attention.
That's it. And hopefully we'll be growing bigger and better and getting this thing re-wrapped up on the deal. And we'll definitely, hopefully, include Michelle Mears in that when we get this thing hopefully cranked back up here pretty soon. And really rocking
Absolutely.
and rolling on that, because your reports and your writing and everything are absolutely fabulous on that. So we thank you for being on, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
You too.
You got it.
Bye. True, sweetheart.
Yes. And
Jill said she read it. Good job, Jill.
that's and it is, and you talk about it though and that is a very important point. Don't let it get to the point of where things are in a crisis or things explode or stuff. It's important to pay attention and get to some of this stuff, because if you walk in, you say nothing or nothing goes on, and then all of a sudden your kid walks in with this, and you're going like that. Well, then like they say, what's been seen cannot be unseen. And if you're not paying attention to what's going on at your schools or whatever, and that, like they say, after the fact can be too late,
Right.
in a lot of this stuff. So
I do think sexual education is a great thing, though.
there does need to, yes,
a
a point.
extent.
Yes, you don't need to
But I
get,
think there's so many
Yes.
different pros and cons to it. Like she said, we can go on for an hour.
I mean,
about
it's
why not?
it's like the old, and I don't know what it was.
But they got rid of it, though, didn't they? Because I remember being in 5th grade, and it was like, oh, you're going to do sex education next year.
It kind of started when I was,
And then it was gone.
yeah, they kind of,
But we got every
Yes.
female in there got a pad, and then it was like, go home and play with it. It was just like, it was the exciting thing of being a girl. And then you felt like almost like, yes, I'm ready.
they were, when I was in high school, they were just starting very limited of that, sex education and stuff in the high schools and stuff like that. And again, you need those
And
discussions.
to educate those kids, too, about how things get transported and
Yes.
transmitted.
Transmitted is a
There
better
we go.
word.
I was thinking of our other story earlier.
Of that. No, it is. And again, it's kind of like the old, when they had the pornography, and I think it was Supreme Court Justice Potter or whatever said, you can't define pornography, but you know it when you see it.
Right.
It's kind of like with the sexual education stuff. I mean, there's, probably because it is a difficult subject to talk about, especially when you get into the real specifics of it. But there is that line, where that line is that you're drawing, and you're going,
Right.
beyond where you should. There should be, you should have, everybody should be able to have the information, be informed.
And be able to talk about it, too. I
Yes.
think a lot of, how I was saying, too, I think a lot of kids and children may grow up in a home where parents just don't talk about it a lot. I know I grew up in a home where it wasn't talked about a lot, so I didn't have a lot of information or anything like that. Not that I cared to get it anyways, but, and like I said, too, I think kids this time and era and everything, they know everything way too freaking young.
Well,
My kids say words that I'm like, what? Not that they're bad, but it's like, how do you know that?
Yeah, and again, yeah, that's what I say with the with the ever changing language and how it's becoming. There's different circumstances, and you have to be realistic about what's going on. I mean, this is not 1957 anymore.
Yeah.
So where like you say, where it was taboo and nobody talked about
You
it.
have like the candle or whatever, where it was like,
Yes.
you have this song with my daughter.
Yes, yeah.
Thank God I have boys.
Well, true, but I mean, it's.
But I still want them to learn everything.
They do.
For sure.
They do have, there's a lot bigger, different dynamic in 2019.
And things that are okay that weren't okay with
Yes.
families.
I mean, yeah,
and
they're
people
seeing
wanting to be a different gender.
Well, we were talking about just the postings of the stuff. I mean, they're getting contact. They're seeing this stuff. Looking on this stuff or anywhere else. And I mean, even if you block it out totally at your house, their friends are going to be showing it to them or whatever. So they're
Exactly.
going to see it somewhere in this whole enchilada. So, I mean, and you do have to deal with it. But then again, I think we really all as communities need to have that discussion.
Plus, too, like my kids, I know if somebody says something to them, they're going to listen more than if it was for me to say something.
Right.
So I think that's kind of a positive side, too, to it. They'll never touch my phone again, though. Panicked. Give me a heart attack. Anyways.
Why does me touching your phone give
I don't
you
know.
a panic attack?
Tonight is the Celtics versus the Clippers at 7 p.m. Who are you going for?
Oh, I guess I hate the Celtics.
Oh, really? Well, I was going for the Clippers,
Well,
too.
because the
can't go
all-time
with the
rivalry with the Lakers and the Celtics. All the time I was growing up, I mean, the Celtics pounded the Lakers into the ground to that until, what was it, 1985, when Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and
I
stuff
wasn't born yet.
finally beat them for the championship game. But what they lost like 8 or 10 times to the Boston Celtics in the finals, from the 60s to the 70s.
So then I'll go with the Celtics.
Although I'm wearing the
I like the
green.
Clippers, though.
Yeah, no, I'm wearing the green, which is a
Gee.
Boston color.
And
You
you've been
know,
watching. You write in who you're going for tonight. There's a bunch of other people playing, but I forgot.
of
Oh, the
that.
Rockets and Nuggets. I can't say that without laughing, though. I don't know why.
I think I could. I
know
think I could
why.
probably come up with the reason why, but we probably should
I mean,
not.
come on.
We would not be wanting to discuss that here at this particular time.
the, the
Although,
Rockets,
like you say, there might be it might up the ratings.
the
on
Rockets
some
and Nuggets.
on that. Roll up some of the stories on IEN before we get too far
Yeah.
into.
You're losing me.
Here's another one on the deal. Over 100. I talk about this like every day. $100,000 worth of theft in utilities and an illegal weed grow in 3 residences in Eastvale and Harupa Valley. I mean, let's
What?
forget about the plants. These cats in 3 houses over 6 months, I think, have allegedly stolen $100,000 worth of freaking electricity. And folks, I'm going to tell you again, you guys are every one of us is paying for that.
Yep.
They're not free. They're not just that is the part everybody who's paying an Edison or Riverside Public Utilities or whomever, Marina Valley Utility electric bill should be as severely upset about this stuff, because you're paying the freight for these guys. If they were doing this, which is probably pretty good evidence the cops are saying they did, you're paying the freight of it. So again, thank you, Riverside County Sheriff's Department, for busting these cats, because not only just not considering the environmental damage and stuff of growing this in houses and stuff where it's just, that's not cool anyway, but just the theft of utilities, I don't know, that really just chaps my rear end on that whole thing. So bravo.
Chaps
Thank
your
you.
friend.
Thank you for doing that. What's the
I'm so
next one
glad.
up? Oh, here's the
Yeah, good job.
here was a Moval teen. Oh, this genius. He was working for Think Together, which I think is an after-school nonprofit program, and
It's an amazing program, too.
yes. Well, this guy,
It really
17-year-old, is working for Think Together and after school with whatever, with the activities they're doing
Mhm,
at those
right.
programs. This guy is accused bringing alcohol into the campus and serving it to the minor children that are there, at least one, I think, serving it to the minor children. So he got a free. Well, I don't know if they call Juvenile Hall the Gray Bar Motel, but he got a free ride by the sheriff's department down to that. So.
But now, did he give his sibling maybe it?
I don't care who it is.
Was it related?
You've gotta
I
be,
mean, but I'm just saying, if it's like an uncle or brother or
you've
something, not
done
that he's a good person. I'm
if
just
you
wondering.
Well, again,
If that's how their family life is, then
well, then but you've got to be a real genius to be 17 and bringing alcohol into into your campus and serving. If you're doing it at your house and nobody's, well, like you say, whatever,
right?
But to do that, to be as emboldened or whatever, to do that as you're as you're not a school employee, but you're working for I think it's a state-funded program or it's a nonprofit through that, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, it's an after-school program.
And you're on school grounds.
Yeah, you're on school grounds and doing that.
But see, him being on school grounds, does that qualify as like a higher charge because you're on school grounds?
Might be. Maybe we'll call up District Attorney Hester and get him on the line and see if he, and see if that, the impeachment hearings, this was, and I'll just cover it quickly. They were trying to make Ken Starr said, yeah, you can see where Adam Schiff, the guy that's the chairman of the oxymoron Intelligence Committee of the House of Representatives, he's obviously angling for impeachment. And Ken Starr said, yes, what Adam Schiff is doing, they're going, this is a slam dunk, they're going to do impeachment. Well, in the news reports, they were cutting out the part where Ken Starr, who was the head prosecutor when Clinton was impeached over the Lewinsky deal. So, I mean, this is a guy with a lot of credibility on his side. So they're cutting it out and saying, yeah, it's inevitable now that Trump's going to be impeached. And in Adam Schiff's mind, he's committed. Well, they did not run the first part of it as this is what I think at where Adam Schiff is going with it, but it sounds like Ken Starr is saying, yeah, impeachment's inevitable, Trump's crossed the line, yada, yada, yada. So they went and clarified that, or in the questioning later in that by some of the stuff, they said, did Trump ever ask you to do that? No. Was there any quid pro quo? No. This star witness, Solomon, whomever they had. No. So it's obvious they don't have anything. They're trying to create stuff. It's political. We're using our taxpayer dollars, in my view, as a political rod on this stuff. So I don't know why you're worrying about that at this time. But
sorry, you lost me in your rant.
Go. But that's all I got on that of that.
Paz writes in interesting.
Yes, this is. The cops got called out to Mead Valley for a deceased body on that, and they found 700 weed plants that they removed from the weed family home. So I mean, I don't know. And they say it's a death investigation. They didn't say if there was any foul play on it or had to do with that. So we'll
Maybe he just wanted to die with his plants.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, but was there something else going on? They didn't say that it was like natural causes or
another
anything.
Weed bust.
Yeah, another.
Now
weed
I'm telling you, I'm going into business and I'm opening up a huge area where you can buy off me for $1,000 a week.
You're getting smarter every day.
Thank you.
Another one, yeah, they went out there. Another one, 9 warrants served down there in Anzo. They busted a whole bunch of them, roll up on the other one. That, what do we got? Oh, here's the gang members arrested for firearms violations. Couple down in the low desert. We'll scroll up and show the pictures of the weapons. Guys.
I'm noticing whoever's taking these mugshot photos, they're getting these people with their eyes closed a lot.
Yeah, well, they're probably not. They're probably. Yeah.
Oh. Well, that would make more sense.
Yes, so a roll up. There's another one on the deal. Couple.
Aww,
they did. Yes.
Did they find her?
Yeah, they found her family. They identified her. She was a missing woman. Had been up in Victorville in the hospital for like a week. They had found her. I think it's somewhere, and she was in real critical condition, but they didn't know they were.
She looks so scared in this photo. It breaks my heart. When I
yes,
first saw
but
it, I was like, oh
after and one of the good aspects, I guess, of social media, and I don't know if this was, but it was within about a day or so they finally did find her family in Los Angeles, so she's going to be reunited.
In Los Angeles?
Yeah, I think
she was found where?
In Victorville.
Wow.
So I think they're going to,
That's
at least,
quite a ways from each other, isn't it?
A little bit.
I don't know. I'm not even gonna pretend like I know.
And that's it for the day. So run the
Yeah,
run
what was the secret thing that you were doing?
not the secret thing. Run the one. No, this is a story Jesse sent in. It's a pretty good one. This is the
in her own home. This happened in front of her stepchildren. ABC 13 Catherine Marchand is live in the newsroom now with what her attorney is trying to overturn as far as the charges are concerned. This is a very interesting story, Catherine.
Yeah, it really is, Samika. If convicted, the woman, Tilly Buchanan, would be required to register as a sex offender. Her attorney is arguing that this violates her 14th Amendment right to equal protection, saying that what's okay for a man should be okay for a woman, too. Now, I want you to take a look at this map. It shows that Utah is one of 3 states where going topless is illegal. Those are the states in red. This is from gotopless.org. The states in orange, they have ambiguous rules on the matter. And according to the advocacy group, top freedom is in effect in the green states on the map. That includes Texas. And while there may not be laws in Texas specifically banning women from taking their tops off, you can still be charged. The penal codes for indecent exposure, public lewdness, and disorderly conduct don't specifically mention going around topless, but if you do it in front of people who may be offended, that is where it can get a little tricky. So back in Utah, Buchanan says, yes, she took her top off in front of her stepchildren. She and her husband were hanging drywall, and she didn't want any of her clothes to get dusty. She also told her stepkids she considers herself a feminist, and everyone should be fine walking around the house with skin showing.
So
in
let's
the privacy of my own home.
so would you walk around in front of your kids?
Why the hell would you take your shirt off?
Well, she said she didn't want to get her top and bra dirty, so she took the
Don't
whole.
hang the freaking drywall.
Yes, on that.
What?
So,
And hanging drywall, you don't get dirty or dusty hanging it.
well, yes, you can.
Not really.
Have you ever
I've hung drywall. I
Have
don't
you ever
even
cut
know
it or
how
ru-
many freaking times? But even cutting it, if you use a utility knife, cut both ends, just break it, hang it, screw it in. Isn't
I
no.
think she would. But yeah,
But you know what? Okay, the whole topless law. I mean, really, come on now.
Yes.
You know when it's appropriate and when it's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
At first, I was like, "Well, was she getting in the shower?" But take
no,
your shirt off.
no,
to
you're
hang-
out working in the house or doing drywall or whatever, and you're doing that, and she says, well, her case was
Those
well,
poor kids are probably scarred for life. Good job, stepmom.
or they,
Just saying.
or they got a
Yeah,
big
I see
smile
stuff.
on their face. No, but I mean, that's what her contention was, and that's why she's saying, well, I'm a feminist. Well, men can take their top off, too, and what I should be able
But
to do
see,
the
even
whole...
then, I don't think men around children should take their shirt off, unless you're swimming or barbecuing or like outside doing something maybe. But if you're hanging drywall, I know you hate wearing clothes for whatever reason. Please have them on when we're in here, though. For the love of life. That's just weird. I don't.
Well, no, I mean, what do you do? I mean,
It's not weird. I don't
I mean,
get
I
why
work
people
out.
need
I work
to-
outside a lot when I'm outside with no shirt on.
That's what. Well, that's what I mean. Like if you're barbecuing, swimming, you're doing yard work, whatever. But
right.
I don't know.
But I mean,
No
yeah,
one wants to see that.
yeah. I
Put
mean,
a shirt on, Roy.
there is of that. But I mean, no, there is a thing.
Oh,
I mean,
Lord.
I mean, it's not considered lewd conduct or something from males. I think that's what she was saying.
Will be. If
Wha-
you get the right person, and it will be.
And
Nowadays.
and they're no, but I mean, just the general law is that men can walk around. It's not lewd or
So now you're saying
inappropriate.
it's okay for men to walk around
Well, it
without a
is. I
shirt
mean,
on,
that's
not a
part of the
woman?
law. I mean, you can't. You can walk around in public with your shirt off and not be arrested.
That
for
law will be revised. Watch.
Well, it could be. Well,
It
that
will
would
be.
that would be
Watch.
interesting. Of
Some woman's gonna say she was offended by seeing some man's nipples, and there we go. World War VIII.
but I mean that's a whole again that's pretty
And I want to point out, you know how many times I was asked if I ever hung drywall when I came in here? No, I feel
of
like a
that.
dummy.
But
for
no, I
asking.
mean
But I have.
I
plenty of
would say
times.
that is definitely inappropriate. I wouldn't want
For sure. And
any females
that
around
is such-
kids with
that is such baloney.
yes, that's
There's
that-
no way that's why she took it off. That doesn't make any sense.
yeah, that or
Scraping like the cottage cheese off the ceilings.
yeah,
Yes.
that was
That's annoying. Oh wow, what happened to my hair here? I look like I've been hanging dry. Anyways,
the old one. Did you find the one on the radio control car? Roll that one. Let's see. This guy, we hang on. Just have it ready, but
don't put it up yet.
yeah. Well, I'm giving him the cue, so he's got it. So he's prepared
Hands are flying.
for that. When that, just like the other one, you just need to have them start it because you kind of missed the first part where they were talking about her having the being the topless part on that. It didn't get to run. But no, this kid, 16-year-old kid, was using a remote control car to smuggle about $100,000 worth of meth across the border in Mexico on that. And he had some other stuff, backpack on him and stuff, but they were doing that. So when you got the video ready on that, roll it, and we'll see what happens.
Is accused of using a remote-controlled car to try to move meth into the United States across the Mexico border. A toy. Here it is. Authorities say that he used this to get drugs near San Diego, and they say that he's a U.S. citizen actually, but is facing drug smuggling charges. Agents say that these are the 2 large duffel bags that he used to transport drugs, and then officers searched the 2 bags and say they found 50 packs of meth in there.
That was pretty ingenious.
I think it. I mean,
I mean,
he tried.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty ingenious to figure that out of all that stuff. But yeah, he got popped on that one or that. But yeah, got to give him an E for effort on that one because that was a pretty slick freaking move on that to get. Well, what I wonder is how many times he done this and didn't get caught. Of that before. I
wonder if he had like a silencer on, because sometimes those little
they were pretty loud.
Cars are loud.
Yes, on that. Well,
pretty soon they're gonna do drones.
Yeah,
Watch.
Well, actually,
I wonder if they've already done
I'm sure they probably are. I'm sure there's probably lots of drones.
But don't you think they're
stuff.
watching that airspace or no?
Oh, I'm sure
they
they
should
are. The whole thing. That's why it's important.
Let's throw out a bunch of ideas.
Build the wall. Have surveillance. May have the military running their drones across or doing surveillance across the border and that. That'd knock a lot of that crap off. I see a F-17 come out and blow a little drone out
cool
of
to watch.
out of
I want to see that.
That would be
I
neat.
want to watch something blow up. That sounds fun. Okay, I need to stop talking. People could take that. Anyways, I want to torch a freaking turkey.
I will do that.
I'm like so serious. We got to start coming up with Thanksgiving stuff.
Yes.
I want people to write in what's your guys' Thanksgiving tradition.
Tomorrow will be 1 week.
I know.
And it will be on.
I'm thinking Black Friday shopping. At Target, doors open at 3, I think.
Some of them, are opening on Thanksgiving, actually? Were they opening like at 6 o'clock on Thursday or something?
I just said 3. All stores, most stores are open now on Thanksgiving Day.
Right, that's what
Maybe
I mean.
it is 6,
yeah,
I think it is 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what I say. I mean, they start opening this. They backed it up
But
to
you
where
know
now
why, though? You know why they do it now? How they do it?
I
Because
have
so
no
many people are getting hurt, killed, trampled. Because people take advantage, man. Y'all are ruining good stuff. I wanted to get up at midnight and be like, yeah,
people is
get
crazy.
that deal. And now it's not as fun as it used to be. That's all right.
I bought a Walmart shirt online, so I'm gonna sneak in during.
You got a Walmart uniform?
Oh, you're
There you
gonna
go.
be a fake employee or something, huh?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Walk back
It's
there and get that
brilliant
tea.
telling the whole world what you're doing.
I
See.
don't know which Walmart. One in Temecula.
Yeah. I mean, it's Rainier Valley. I told on you.
We have 2 here.
What's your? You're gonna be at the racetrack or something, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Somewhere or other.
Usually am.
I'll be at my mama's and daddy's, making her cook. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. You have what?
Some bye-bye music.
You have bye-bye music? Wow. He has bye-bye music.
Yeah.
Well, wait, I don't know what it sounds like.
I figured. What are we regressing to like when we're 7 years old or something?
Bye-bye.
But
Are we done now?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
I think that's what he's telling us to get.
Yeah,
the-
he didn't even let me.
Yeah, no, once it starts, you'll have a minute to start talking.
You gotta.
A minute to start talking.
You got anything else?
Make sure you catch the game tonight starting at 7 p.m. Don't ask me what channel because I don't know, but go Clippers or Celtics, whoever you go for.
Whoever you like.
I'm going to say whoever wins was my team. What about you?
You did break the streak.
I
You
did.
won.
I want to point that out. I did. Oh, we didn't talk about that. That would have been a good conversation. I was ready for that one. Dang it. Oh, well. I won.
Are
On
you
Monday.
happy?
I am. Who
Is
won
your
again? I
anx-
forgot.
Is your anxiety going away?
No.
Well, your luck's turning around, for crying out loud.
Yeah. No.
I told you this would be the test if you turn the corner.
Yeah, so
You turn the corner.
team that won, because I don't remember.
Yes, you picked a winning team.
Who was it?
The Hoboken.
Oh, the Chiefs.
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome, Chiefs.
Chiefs are going to be your favorite team now. It's your good luck charm.
Yeah.
You got it.
What city are they from? Or
Hoboken.
state? Who?
New Jersey.
Oh. I like New Jersey. No, they're not. Are you making stuff up?
No, I would never.
I
make
thought they were
that.
from Kansas.
Wow, you're getting close. That's probably why they call them the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm so confused. You know what, Roy? Stop.
That's it. Well, we're going to
Alright.
stop. We're
yeah,
gone.
we're gone.